Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ray. This is going to be the 8th video in my Ascension video series. Now, of course, every video in this series relies on the information that I have given you in the previous videos. So in this video, I understand that you are already familiar with the concepts of duality, for example, the mastery of the self. The balancing that we're going to discuss in this video is very, very important for you. We're going to talk about the balance point that we need to reach in the balance between spirituality and ego, between the mind and the heart, and of course, the 4 bodies. So, stay tuned. What does the word balance mean to you? And do you really feel balanced in everything in your life? And let me give you an example. When we go to high school as teens, usually if we are more used to using our head, like in mathematics, or we're gifted in English or physics, most of us will probably not go to physical education, will not become jocks. And the jocks will not put that much effort into the subjects of using their brain that much. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not gifted in both, because there's obviously exceptions, but we usually tend to go towards our comfort zone, wherever it is that we are comfortable, whatever it is that comes easy to us in our life. And this creates type of an unbalanced character. Another example, a beautiful girl will again do less because things will come much easier to her, for example. Now ask yourself, what type of life am I living right now, and am I balanced? Do I have enough physical activity in my life? Do I have enough time for contemplation and meditation? Is my heart balanced with my brain, or is my brain not balanced with my heart? In other words, am I an overthinker? Do I solve problems only using my mental capacity, or do I also solve problems using my heart, using my emotions and my feelings, and sometimes my intuition? All these things are very, very important. And the reason for that is that, again, we are stuck in our comfort zone, and we use the tools and the arsenal of options that we were born with. In other words, we go towards what is easy for us, and then we completely neglect anything that's not. The 4 bodies, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, and the physical, are usually out of balance. Now imagine your heart that has 4 chambers. One chamber is mostly active and dominant, while another chamber is very soft and easygoing and laid back and kind of like behind everything else. That doesn't make sense, does it? Right? Because the heart pumps blood, and it needs all 4 chambers to work with synchronicity and in the same pace. Now, what happens when a person uses too much his mental capacity, like we have today? We have stress, much more than we had in previous, you can say in previous years. We have much more overthinking, much more expectations, many more obligations, especially the millennials that don't have even a time to read a title on Facebook. So they go to Instagram to just watch pictures and videos. And even that, we have a 10-minute video, we'll just watch the first minute and then we'll let go of the rest. So that's the mental body that is being out of balance. Imagine an emotional body that is out of balance. Too much feelings. Too sensitive, too offensive, too many ups and downs, too many expectations, too many one days, high and second days, depression. That's an out of balanced emotional body. And you have the same thing with the physical. Obviously, people who are obese or don't work out at all, or don't use the body, that is a body that is out of balance. So again, I will go back to the metaphor of having the heart with 4 chambers work in synchronicity. If one of those bodies that you have is out of balance, this is the body you should focus on. Now, I want you to understand that you don't have to force anything, and it doesn't have to come as a commitment for your entire life, but it's time to start making those small adjustments and small changes. I'll give you myself as an example. Until the age of 25, I can define myself as being a human robot, okay? A human robot. In other words, I didn't really feel, I didn't use my intuition, I didn't use my emotions, I saw them coming. And my mental capacity as a protector, because of some trauma that I experienced as a child, my mental capacity, which is above normal, protected me from human emotions in order for me not to get hurt. You might be familiar with this because sometime in your life someone broke your heart, and then for a while it was hard for you to go on dating, trusting other people. So that's the mental capacity that is protecting you and the emotion that you have suppressed. So until the age of 25, I was a human robot, you can say. And at the age of 25, I understood many things in my mental capacity. One of them is that the human journey or the human experience is about emotions, is about feelings. This is the only place that we can endure feelings of separateness, because the experience of separateness is a reflection from other people. In other words, if you were in a deserted by yourself in an island, you would not be able to express the type of love, you can say depression, expectations, everything, suffering, sadness, excitement, because you wouldn't have other people. So when I understood that this is a different game from the game that I thought, that is about money and success and ego and stuff like that, I understood that it's about the emotion, it's about the feelings themselves. So I decided to put obstacles in my own way to develop my own emotions. One of those is that to always feel the emotion, to accept it, to take responsibility for it, to be with it. You know, not to neglect it, not to suppress it in any way like many men do. So that's one of the things that you should become aware of, those little subtle changes of becoming more mature and more aware. And that's the spiritual aspect of ascension. You are becoming more mature and aware because the things, the experiences that the universe is sending your way are there for you to mature, for you to overcome, for you to become a better you. Otherwise, they wouldn't come. Everything is a perfect plan, and you are part of that aligned perfect plan. In other words, whatever you're experiencing needs to be experienced. And every emotion needs to be, you need to assume that there's something behind that. If not, it's just going to come back and come back. For example, cancer. Cancer is a great example. Why? You're supposed to get cancer because you haven't listened to the clues, to the intuition. You have actually neglected the hints and the clues that your guides have been sending you for such a long time that they had to give you something that will cause that suffering. So much suffering, so you'll hit bottom, and from that bottom you'll wake up. Because people awaken when everything is well and when everything is really, really, really bad. So that's the bottom. And a lot of people, after their cancer, start waking up, becoming more aware to their spiritual path, to the arsenal of tools that they have been given, that they have been receiving in their life, and they haven't really used in some way. So we talked about the four bodies in balance. Now let's talk about the mind and the heart. That's much simpler, right? Everything here is about our thoughts and about our feelings. Our capacity as conscious manifestors comes from our clarity of mind and belief in ourselves, and our emotion, our excitement about that, about the love that we have to ourselves because we want to gift ourselves with that thing we want to manifest. Are you too much in your mind, or are you too much in your heart? Find the balance between those two. Work on the thing that is a little bit weaker, you know? If you're too much in your mind, it's time to meditate, it's time to contemplate, it's time to stay much more aware to the present moment. And then your mind won't escape to the future that hasn't occurred yet, or to the past that you keep on coming back to for some reason. Those stories you keep telling to yourself. There's no reason for that anymore. Your life is in one direction, the present to the future. If you look back, you won't see anything. That's the past. You've already changed the past. You've changed 1,000 times. It's time to look towards the future. So find those things that you really need to balance in your life. You're already aware of some of them, but now that you know that the heart has the chambers and has to work with perfect synchronicity, and now that you are aware that some of your manifestations haven't worked because of that, because you're not balanced with yourself. So a higher vibrational person is a person that knows how to balance their love life, their relationship, their family life with their job, for example. Their egoistic reasoning and why I want things for myself, and their altruistic expressions of how I want to help society. So it's not all about giving, and it's not all about receiving. It is about finding the balance and the harmony between those two that come together. That's the perfect, the perfect balance point that you should find yourself in. The same thing with the world of manifestation. There's a balance point between wanting something, visualizing it, imagining that we already have it, and trusting and letting go that it's going to come in the perfect way and with everybody that is involved in that particular scenario getting whatever it is that they need, you know, the positive balance of life. So I'm really hoping that you got a lot from this video. It's time to notice those little things that needs to come to change, especially in these coming years. Because until now, we were forced to work in a specific way, and now other methods, other ways of expressing ourselves, other ways of living our life are coming up to the surface to be experienced. And some of these are going to show you where you are out of balance in your own life. And this is a clear way to your ascension process. Namaste, my friends. Thank you very much for staying with me, and I will see you in my next video. Of course, if you want more of my information, go to raymaor.com, join one of my life-changing retreats. Namaste again. Ciao.